Welcome to the Out to the Brush. Today we're going to carry on with the staff of Illuminor Szeras, and what we're going to do today is we're going to tackle getting the blade done. So we know that it sits in that orientation, and I need to work out whereabouts I'm going to put the light source on this model. So I'm trying to keep things consistent across all of the models that I've done. Just looking at what we've got. So I think on this what we're going to have is we're going to have colour to black to colour or to black. So the first thing I'm going to need to do is put some green down, and the first one I do, I'm mixing a little bit of green with a tiny amount of black. So I do want to darken this up. I don't want it too light to start with. And then I'm going to thin this with quite a bit of water. And then hopefully we can keep some consistency across all my figures, as it wouldn't matter which way around they're painted, they'd all look the same. So what I'm going to do, I need to move this lens forward so I can see it and you can. It's very thin black green. I'm going to push, and at the moment I'm not worried about being neat, to the ends from the middle, and then on this bit it's going to be the same pattern. So from the middle to the end, and from about the middle to the top. Now with the blade we go the opposite way. On this side we go to the middle, to the middle, and then the bottom is the same. So we're going to have colour on the blade at the tip, there isn't an end to it, so this bit in the middle is going to become coloured. Now when I come to do the reverse, it's opposite. So if we've got glaze at the ends on this blade, it's going to be towards the middle, and this point it's going to be towards the end. That's the reverse, so we're back to having a colour in the middle. And here it's back to full colour across the top, along the bottom part of the blade. Now there's a bit we haven't done. Sorry about that, camera battery just died. So this is drying fairly rapidly. The one bit we haven't done is the bottom on the back edge. So we've got colour going from here to the edge of the blade, which means the blade on the other side is going to be black and the colour is going to go to the tip. So now I'm going to step into just the green. This is angel green that I'm using. Again, thin it right down, turn it into a glaze wash. You can barely see the previous colours that I've put on there now. Still got some drying there. So again, let's take it from just before where we've got to the middle, and this bit is going to be the same. So again, just before where we got to. Now I'm probably going to need to change brush in a minute, because this brush is not playing ball. Not at the moment anyway. At the end of the blade. Down at the bottom. Just waiting for that little patch to dry a little bit. Yeah, sometimes you just have to wait a little bit longer for some of these glazes to dry out. So again, this one's going to be to the end of the blade, from about the middle, from the middle to about the end of the blade. We ain't going near the end. Turn it over. Same on the back side. So all I'm doing is building up layer upon layer of very thin watered down glazes of the primary colour that we're using. And this time up here, I just want to try and spread it out a little bit more. So now what I'm going to do is rest that somewhere where I know that I'm not going to damage the bits that I'm already working. So I'll show you what I've done. I've just propped it up on two brushes, raise it up so that side's not getting any colour on it. Then step it into Greenskin, put a blob out, and what I'll do is I'll mix a splodge of this back into the original colour. Don't want it into that black. I know it touched the black, but we didn't get there. A little bit into it, water it down. Right, same process. Again, I'm trying to sketch quickly with this because if I can do it quickly, it will help me correct it later on. So The faster I move this paint and the thinner it is, the better it is for the paint job. I'm getting some thickness there that I don't like. So I'm just going to make a little well with the colour that I'm currently using. Water it down a bit more. Again, flip it over, come back at the other side. And I'm not using the tip of the brush very often, I'm using the side of the brush for this. I'd like to try and put down all of the part of the blade that I'm doing at once if I can. There will be mistakes, there will be things we need to correct at the end, but again, as we're going through a range of 4 colours, we can use the base colour and maybe the first 2 colours to correct what we've done if we need to. So there will be mistakes. You can get this perfect first time. It's bloody hard. Again, I think my paint is getting a little bit too thin on the brush. Again, prop it across the 2 brushes as needed. This time I'm going to wet, you can't really see the palette. So this was the angel green that I've been mixing Greenskin into. This time we're going to go back the other way. I'm going to take a little bit of the Greenskin, put it over here, take a tiny bit of the angel green, mix it back into it, thin it down so it's now really quite thin, glaze consistency. And again, come back in. Now I'm concerned that's a little bit too thick. We'll have to go and have a look in a sec. We'll make do. And as you can see, I'm just building up layer upon layer of very thin glazes, or at least trying to. Might have made that one a little bit too thick. That's it over. Come back to the reverse. So that's right. Yeah, we fucked up. We gotta try and deal with that now. So I'm gonna go back into the dark colour and show you how I deal with it. So just come from where we got to, just layer a little bit more on, and fade it out. Hopefully we've corrected that enough for what we need. We shall see in a minute. It's just about trying to wipe out some of that transition so that it looks like it's going from one to the other. I really don't like what's on there. Yeah, no, I thought I'd made a mess of that. There's some of the original blade showing through. Now I need to correct that along. You may not have seen what I had an issue with. I had a blemish on the blade, lump of paint that stuck to it that needed to be taken out, because otherwise it was just going to get thicker and thicker as this process carries on. So we managed to get something back that looks reasonable. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the Greenskin on its own, really saturate it, get it very, very thin, and yeah, I might need to be changing brushes soon. Might have taken this one too far. Yep, let's sort that one out. Much better tip on this one. It's the same process as what we've been doing, and just keep pulling more pigment to where you need it. And hold it wherever it's comfortable. So I want pigment towards the end of the blade. A little bit there. Most of it is around here. So I might need to feather that out. And we'll probably need to come in and apply several coats. So turn the blade over, come back into the other side. Again, one of the issues we now have is the weather is warming up, so paint dries faster. Again, flip blade over, come back the other side, same process, pulling it towards where we need it. And again, this is about using multiple thin glazes. The thinner you do this, the better it will look. The more layers you use, the better it will look. The faster you rush it, like I've been, the worse it will look. So this would probably be one of my worst looking blades of recent times, purely because this one is being rushed somewhat compared to the others normally. The others weren't done on camera, whereas this one has been. Again, turn it over, lay it flat. This time, I'm fairly happy that I haven't needed any more layers of Greenskin. But what I'm going to do now is take out the next colour in the list, which is Rainforest. You can take some of our green, tiny bit of Rainforest to it. So each time we're just lightening the shade a little bit. Water. I mean, I'm literally at glaze consistency. Dropped it, darn it. That's what you don't want to do. And again, same at the other end. Flip it over, other side the blade. Try to keep this on screen. So again, another layer done. More of the darker green. You know, far more of the light green this time, but not all the way up. Again, keep it thin. You want it glaze consistency. The idea is that having the layers thin enough, as each layer dries, it doesn't leave too much in the way of watermarks and the like, and you can get away with building up thinner layers. And each time I'm trying to bring the glaze further back so that we cover less of the same area each time, so that we leave some of the previous layers exposed so that they're seen and visible. Again, turn the blade over, same thing, opposite side. with this one, what I might do is just come back in and give it a second coat, just because it is quite a thin colour. Again, leaving that to dry, and again I'm going to mix even more of the yellow. So it's now getting very light. We haven't quite got to the final colour, which is Rainforest, but we're not far off it now. So again, same process that we've been doing, and again I may have to be a little bit more careful with this one, just because we are now getting to that point where you're starting to get this very sharp transition. As I said, the thinner your layers are, the better this will look at the end. You can always come back and add more, but it's almost impossible to take it away once it's there. That's that end. I think we've gone too far there. Again, turn it over, back to the previous side. So what I'm doing is just using a little bit of water to help feather it out, and I'll pull it towards where the intensity is rather than away from it. Again, it's a case of going backwards and forwards. You could do multiple blades all at once. I would probably, from having done this myself several times, it's easier to paint individual blades than do the entire squad. Again, back to the other side of the blade. Again, other side of the blade. almost at the final colour. So again, I'm going to come back and put quite a bit of water into some pure neat Rainforest, which is the final colour. So there are the colours transitioned through. Now what I'm going to do is, bizarrely enough, I'm going to come back to the black that we used. Hopefully some of it's still viable. And what I want to do is come back in just where we've lost that black. There should be some signs of the original colour there. And again, I'm pushing the water towards that pigment rather than spreading that pigment out. So I've put the pigment on the surface and then I've pushed water towards it. There are a couple of places on the blade that I just need to tidy up. I might have to come back in with a little bit stronger tone. Just have a look for a sec. what we'll try to do now is just pick out some of the black detailing on there. So I'm going to have to go for a more detailed brush. And all I'll try to do now is pick out the little black lines. And just got a couple of little mistakes in it, correct. Again, we've got some tidying up to do on that blade, but it ain't too bad. So what I'm going to do is, just to finish off, the flatter sections are going to get blacking along the edge. This is so that when I come back I can edge highlight with some white paint and it should look quite spectacular. It's just to make sure that things work the right way. So I've got to let that dry now. I should be back in a bit once that's dry. Right, the very last step in getting this blade to look right is the edge highlight. So I'm going to use my curve brush and load some white scar. Now unfortunately that's too wet, too runny. I want the thicker stuff for this. This is one of those bits where I don't like thick paint, but the thicker the paint, the less runny it is, the better. Because I've got to get a lot of this paint out of the brush first. I want the brush almost looking like it's dry. Yeah, it will leave pigment behind on my thumb, but not very much. So first it, I take the edge of the brush and just run it along the edge, holding it so that I get a nice smooth white line. Now I'm using the curve on the brush that I've got so that I can get these semicircles highlighted without worrying about my brush. So I'm going to do one side of the brush, the blade first. So get you to see what I'm doing. So curve of the brush, I'm literally just running it down the edge. That gets that, and then I've got to come in and do the inside faces. don't have to do the whole piece, just need to catch enough of it to give the impression of what's going on. Brush is drying, getting to the point where I've got no pigment there. So try and copy what I've done on both sides. So all I'm doing is picking out the edges on the various sections of the blade, trying to make sure there's a white edge to them before we come to the really difficult part. So again, I'm fairly happy with how that's looking at the top. I need to do the same to the bottom. So fairly happy that's been hit. Right, this is the really difficult bit. This is the bit you risk messing it up. I've got the brush relatively dry. I use the curved side of it, and that's that one. So I don't generally speak like in doing this because it tends to ruin the brush, because the paint is drying on the brush and I risk messing up the brush with that. But I cannot find another way to do this. Again, we've gone too dry. So to show you the finished example, that is where we're at. So it's got an edge highlight around it. It looks basically right, and we can now get round to mounting this part in its correct position. But that's a quick demonstration of how I go about painting the blades on Necron. So I'll show you the colours that I'm using very quickly. We have matte black, angel green, Greenskin and Rainforest, and then just for the edge highlight we've got some white scar, and that's how I produce the Necron weapons. Hopefully we will have him assembled later in the day or tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I've been the Addict to Brush. If you've liked what you've seen, please like and subscribe, leave a comment, and hopefully I will see you next time.